Uh, Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the first forum of the Educational Liberty Alliance. I'm Graham Gerst, ELA's founder. I'm a parent married to a teacher, and I've been involved with educational nonprofits since I graduated from college. Disturbing trends in K-12 education that we've all seen are what led me to start ELA. We are parents and teachers who believe children's education is needed for a healthy democracy, but we are worried about the K-12 education environment. We see academic opportunities for children narrowing at a time when they should be expanding. We see teachers advocating for political causes with their young, impressionable students and encouraging and rewarding student activism in support of those causes. We see our schools aggravating racial tensions rather than focusing on what unites us as Americans. We see subjects being taught from a single viewpoint without nuance or historical perspective, condemning anything from the past incongruous with today's dominant narrative. And we see our schools graduating students less prepared to compete with workers around the world as we enter an era of unprecedented global competition. But most concerning is that we see an environment of fear in our schools. Students are afraid to speak up or write essays that challenge what they are being told to believe. They face academic retribution and even discipline and expulsion if they dissent from the new orthodoxy. Concerned teachers stay silent out of fear for their friends and jobs. They see examples like Paul Rossi, the math teacher at Grace Church School in New York, who was fired in April when he raised concerns about his school's mandate to treat students differently on the basis of race. Many parents feel too isolated and intimidated to challenge what they see being done to their children. They dread the retribution their children will face were the parents to voice dissent. Those parents have the same concerns about losing friends and fear for their jobs that teachers do. As a parent I spoke with last week said to me, even seemingly powerful people like Goldman Sachs investment bankers and elite law firm lawyers did not speak out because they know that doing so might cost them their jobs. The story in March from Loudoun County, Virginia, about efforts by administrators, teachers, parents, and even the county prosecutor to target parents who disagreed with the school district's promotion of critical race theory would give any parent pause before standing up at a PTA meeting. Schools exist to educate our children. To succeed, they must encourage curiosity and freedom of thought so that minds can expand and grow. Many K-12 schools today do the opposite. They shut down questioning and inquiry, demanding fealty to controversial ideologies. We members of ELA want to transform this environment into one more conducive to actual learning and education. And we need to start now so that more children don't leave school unprepared to contribute constructively to our American democracy. I can't help but chuckle a little bit because I sound like those signs you may have seen in your neighborhood that began, "Here we believe." But we do think that making our philosophy clear from the outset is important because we're asking you to join us. Our philosophy and the name of our organization come from John Stuart Mill's essay on liberty. If you have not read it or haven't read it in a while, I urge you to pick it up. You can find it on our website. When I reread it last summer, it was like it had been written as much for our society today as England's in 1859. Mill believed, as did our founding fathers, that the only way to advance knowledge and uncover truth is through freedom of thought and expression. Silencing ideas we believe to be false or abhorrent inhibits intellectual development. It makes it impossible to correct beliefs that we believe are right and true, but are actually false and wrong. And it prevents us from having confidence in what we believe because our beliefs are unchallenged and untested. As Mill wrote, we can never be sure that the opinion we are endeavoring to stifle is a false opinion. And if we were sure, stifling it would be an evil still. We cannot be judges of certainty based on a false sense of infallibility. The United States was founded on these principles, and they are part of what make our country so successful and our society worth living in. We believe, therefore, that schools should teach students how to think, not what to think. Schools Schools must encourage students to develop their own ideas and reach their own conclusions. And the only way to do that is to present students with different perspectives, to teach nuance on contentious issues, and to encourage our students to reach their own conclusions, particularly when that means dissenting from the majority view. Again, quoting Mill, "If there are any persons who contest a received opinion, let us thank them for it, open our minds and listen to them, and rejoice that there is someone to do for us what we ought to do for ourselves." In short, we believe schools should promote freedom of thought, and the only way to promote freedom of thought is by encouraging the free expression of ideas, especially when we think there is no dispute. We want to foster and support grassroots movements of teachers and parents that advocate for improvements in our nation's K-12 schools consistent with this philosophy. We have no intention to direct or control those movements or activities. We want parents and teachers to decide for themselves what issues to raise and how to do so. You know what the problems are in your classes and schools. You have a better sense of how to effectuate change in your locale. Our goal is to facilitate and support your efforts with our fora and our network. We want our schools to be places that give students the knowledge and skills to think for themselves. We want teachers to be confident in speaking up at department meetings about educational mandates or ideologies that concern them. We want to help them turn the tide in their schools so that the phenomenon of teachers promoting political causes returns to its rightful and traditional place of disrepute. And we want ELA teachers to help each other by providing mentoring, career advice, and assistance. We want parents to be effective advocates for change with a deep understanding of the issues they raise. We want parents to be able to join with other parents in their districts and states in pushing for change. More people working in coordination makes advocacy more effective. Most of all, we want to eliminate the fear pervading much of our K-12 educational system. Students should not be afraid to ask questions or write what they think in an essay. Teachers must be able to challenge education dogma, and parents must be able to express concern about what their children are being taught without fear of social opprobrium or losing their jobs. We will put on fora like this one on issues impacting K-12 schools, where different perspectives engage with each other. And that engagement will always be open and respectful, allowing for a free exchange of ideas. We take this approach because it is what is right for our schools. We will never favor one side over another in these fora. We want you to listen and reach your own conclusions. And only by listening to both perspectives can you refine your own arguments and become a better advocate. As the Roman rhetorician Cicero explained, one who knows only his or her side of the case knows little of that. But while today's event is virtual, most of our future events will get people together in person. Part of why people are scared is that they feel like they are alone. But when you get in a room with other concerned parents or teachers, you will see that you are not alone. That will give you more confidence. And you will have chances to meet others of like mind, creating opportunities for you to collaborate and coordinate your efforts, amplifying your voices. We recognize that changing the K-12 educational environment will take a long time. The invasive and now dominant doctrines, theories, and practices that disturb us have been consolidating their hold on our educational system for years, and it will take years to loosen that grip. We will only be successful if we build a strong and deep network of our own with people like you. We need you to join ELA and to reach out to others who share our principles. The network will be the key. The larger the network, the more effective we will be at achieving the deep and lasting change that our children and our country need.